Welcome back to Chapter 2 of our series, Become Debt-Free, the 3-Year Escape Plan. In this episode titled, Snowball vs. Avalanche, Pick Your Payoff Strategy, we're going to break down 2 popular methods for tackling your debt and help you figure out which one might work best for you. So, let's dive in. Right now, someone with 3 maxed out cards is speeding toward payoff twice as fast as their neighbor without earning a penny more. Same income, same debt, totally different finish line. The twist is this: the smarter plan on paper isn't always the one people actually finish. If you've ever tried to get in shape, you already know this tension. Some people swear by the data: heart rate zones, VO2 max, perfectly periodized workouts. Others just need to see the scale move in week 1 or they're out. Debt payoff works the same way. One plan is obsessed with numbers and efficiency, the other is obsessed with keeping you in the game long enough to win. Up to now, we focused on how 2 people with similar money can end up with wildly different results. Next, we're zooming in on you, your attention span, your stress level when you open a statement, the tiny wins that actually make you want to log back into your accounts tomorrow. This isn't about picking the right method in some textbook sense. It's about finding the version of right that you'll still be following 6 months from now, on the good days and the I'm tired of this days. Here's where the choice gets interesting. On one side is Avalanche. You line up your debts by interest rate and attack the most expensive first, squeezing the banks for every dollar of interest. On the other side is Snowball. You sort by balance and knock out the smallest first, stacking quick emotional wins. Research says Avalanche usually saves you more money, but Snowball users finish more often. You're not just choosing a spreadsheet path, you're choosing which kind of progress your brain finds satisfying enough to repeat, especially on days when motivation is running on fumes. Think of this choice as less which guru is right and more how does my brain respond when money is tight and life is annoying. The numbers are important, but they're not the only variable in the equation. Start with the hard math reality. At today's average card rate of 22.4%, every $1,000 you carry is quietly charging you rent every month. In simulations, switching from Snowball to Avalanche with the same total payment chops interest by roughly 6 to 15%. On a $20,000 payoff journey, that can easily be 4 figures that either stays with you or goes to the lender. That's why economists and spreadsheets love Avalanche. But then the behavior shows up. In that Kellogg study, people using a Snowball-style order were about 15% more likely to actually reach the finish line. That's not a small edge. That's the gap between great plan on paper and debt-free in real life. Those quick zeros on smaller balances act like progress bars in a video game. You see the level complete, you want to play the next one. Here's where it gets more nuanced. If your interest rates are all bunched together, say 18 to 22%, the cost difference between methods shrinks. For some folks with promo 0% cards or store cards at similar rates, the penalty for picking Snowball is almost noise. If you've got one card at 29.99% and others at 14 to 18%, the Avalanche advantage gets loud. Every month you don't prioritize that high-rate balance, you're effectively tipping the bank extra. Some personalities genuinely like watching interest charges fall. They track it like steps or calories, and Avalanche gives them that data win. Hybrid setups are completely valid. Eliminate a couple of tiny, irritating balances to clear mental space, then pivot and hammer the highest rate account. The real decision is, when you're exhausted, behind on email, and tempted to skip this month's extra payment, which type of progress would actually pull you back in? The disappearing number of accounts or the shrinking monthly interest line on your statement? Think of 2 friends with the same $12,000 in debt spread across 4 accounts. Jordan hates seeing a long list of bills. They pick off a couple of mid-sized balances first, not because they're smallest or highest rate, but because those 2 payments clutter their calendar the most. In 3 months, they've gone from 4 due dates to 2, and the mental load drops. That lighter bill calendar keeps them consistent, even if it's not the cheapest path. Riley is the opposite. They barely notice how many accounts exist. What bugs them is that the total isn't shrinking fast enough. So Riley sets a rule. Every raise, tax refund, or side gig dollar goes to whichever balance would move the total down the most this month. Sometimes that lines up with Avalanche, sometimes not. But they stay hooked because they see the big number fall in satisfying chunks. Neither friend is wrong. They're just anchoring their plan to the kind of progress that makes it hardest to quit when life gets noisy. A rising twist. Soon, your strategy choice may partly be made for you. Auto allocation tools are learning to steer extra dollars toward costlier balances, while gamified apps splash progress bars and streaks across your screen. It's like having a dietitian planning your meals while a fitness tracker cheers every step. The experiment ahead is noticing which nudges actually change what you do on a bad day, and then customizing the tech, not obeying it blindly. In the end, the best method is the one you'll keep showing up for after a rough week. Track which kind of progress quietly energizes you, then tilt your plan that way, even if it breaks someone else's rules. Like adjusting a recipe to your own taste, the tweak that makes it yours is usually what turns a short-lived sprint into a finish-line habit. To go deeper, here are 3 next steps. 1. Plug your actual debts into an online calculator like Undebt or NerdWallet's Debt Snowball versus Avalanche calculator, and generate both payoff schedules side by side so you can see, in dollars and dates, how long each method will take you. 2. Read or audiobook The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey for a step-by-step deep dive into the debt snowball mindset, then contrast it with The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins or The Boglehead's Guide to Investing to understand why interest rate math favors an avalanche-style approach. 3. Download a habit goal app like YNAB, EveryDollar, or Tiller Money. Choose one payoff method, Snowball or Avalanche, for the next 90 days, and set up automatic extra payments to a single target debt so the strategy runs on autopilot instead of willpower. This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!